Grand Rising. Hmm. Um, Bucket lists. I've had quite the year so far. 2025 has been a year of bucket lists, and it all stems from approximately 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years. Um, August 17th coming up very shortly. That I had my heart attack, subsequent surgery, recovery, and not the least of which was my near death experience. And to be perfectly transparent and honest, that this past 3 years, for the most part, I was in rough shape emotionally. Um, the prognosis, I think it was 3 months after my heart attack. 3 months, the initial follow up after, the first follow up. And the prognosis that the doctors gave me was grim. And they set a timeline for me, and they told me to, if there was things I needed to do, if there was unfinished business, if there was things that I wanted to do, if I had a bit of money and I had the means to travel, if I wanted to travel, and it was a grim appointment, and it inspired me though. Um, it guided me, it directed me to look at the people, places, things in my life that are important to me, that I have a closeness to, and realizing that my business, from a very practical sense in human terms, was very much left undone, and it inspired me to cross my T's and dot my I's and make plans, intentions, to set up a will, to all these things that many people are denied the privilege of. We oftentimes put off such things. We don't want to think about it, but when you're forced to think about it, it's quite a different experience. And in transparency, going back to that, the last 3 years, so it was 3 years ago, 2023, August 17th, that I had my experience and everything that I just mentioned. And I feel that it's important to offer an apology, because through that time, as much as I was trying to stay the course and be on top of things and be mindful of my spiritual, physical, mind, body, spirit, I was experiencing a fair bit, more than a fair bit, of depression, and I wasn't fully aware of it. I wasn't fully aware of it until very recent days, and I do mean recent days, days, the full extent of the depth of the depression that I was feeling. And the depression came from, I can see it now, having had the prognosis that I had, experiencing my own sense or feeling of mourning and where I feel attached to this place, this life, this lifetime, and but in the same breath, it also opened me up to more so, more so than depression. Um, it was a doorway that I needed to go through to experience the depth of love that I have for the people that are in my life, um, and the gratitude that I have for them and their patience and their tolerance and their support for me through that most difficult time. Um, and how many of us, again, we miss that opportunity, we miss that privilege of experiencing that within ourselves, the capacity we hold within ourselves for loving other people. Um, and it was quite astounding, and I've had some, again, I've been quite itinerant uh, uh, this year, 2025. I've had the good fortune of, and these are bucket list things, I finally made a trip to England, and it was amazing and beautiful and perfect, and it was exactly the way it needed to be. And unfortunately, shortly after returning from England, and that was in May, in June, um, my nephew passed away, and I was drawn to Florida for the celebration of life, funeral, wake, whatever. And while that was a deeply saddening event, um, the benefit of that is it drew all our family together, and it gave me an opportunity to see family that I've not seen in quite a while. And today is yet another. I've got a short shift at work, and when I get out of work today, I'm heading down to Boston and then to Bermuda. And in 2019, I was in Bermuda, and with the intention, at the time, I was attempting to look into uh, moving out of the United States, Jamaica, Bermuda, somewhere in the Caribbean. It fell through. However, during that trip to Bermuda, there were these two sisters who owned a convenience store, curio shop, souvenir shop in Kings Wharf, Bermuda, and they were supremely kind to me. And I visited their store every day. It was in Kings Wharf, and on your way out, it was right there, and I would stop in there every day and have a conversation with them. And just in the short amount of time that I was there, 4 or 5 days in Bermuda, I became very good friends with these two Jamaican sisters, and they were so kind, and just like went so far out of their own way to help me, guide me. Like, oh, you might want to check here, you might want to check there. One of the women's sons worked for the Department of Public Works. I'm in construction, whatever. I mean, it was phenomenal. And I remember on the last day that I left, just prior to leaving and disembarking on the ship, I went back in one final time to, say goodbye and thank you and what have you. And they, they said some really nice things, and it etched itself on my heart. And I've had numerous experiences like that within these past few months, within the travel to the UK, travel to Florida, and now Bermuda. And I am hopeful that I will be able to find and locate these two wonderful women who were just so kind to me that I couldn't leave it unsaid. Uh, these are the moments in our lives where um, the impact of the people that are in our lives, the experiences that we share with them, um, the depth of uh, the depth and capacity of love that I hold cherished for the people in my life, albeit experiencing some distance now, um, and the privilege that I have for simply continuing to love, regardless of current circumstances. Um, it doesn't, it doesn't prevent me from loving, and I am allowed the privilege of loving my own life, loving my friends, falling in love with my life, falling in love with the lives of others and their journey and their hopes and their dreams and their aspirations. Um, there's a frequently resonant thing that passes through, and I can't remember the author, but planting trees that we'll never sit under, and really looking out, doing my absolute best to doing my absolute best. Sometimes um, it's not obvious um, what our best is, but knowing what my intention and what my purpose and what my heart condition is toward the people in my life. Um, and I get to experience that. It's challenging. It's challenging at times because what I've found, and I'm embarrassed to say, um, early on in my life, I remember hearing a quote from Jerry Garcia from the Grateful Dead, and he was doing an interview, I think, in People magazine or something like that, and he was quoted saying that choosing the lesser of two evils is still choosing evil, and somehow I distorted that in my own mind and my own understanding, that was a dilemma, that was the definition of a dilemma. And I'm ashamed to say that I was wrong in that understanding and belief of what he was referring to. And what a true dilemma is, if you break down the word, is dilemma. You break it down, dilemma, two truths, two truths, and we are put in a position where we have to discern between which of these two truths. They're both true, but I need to choose the least hurtful, the least impactful, the least harmful of those two truths, and what's in the best interest of others, what's in my best interest, and what's in the best interest of the whole. And I found myself in that position um, in recent months, and it has been throughout this entire journey, in particular these past 3 years, experiencing what I experienced, and depression, and trying to dot my I's and cross my T's, and um, if there's anything you need to do, Scott, do it, and feeling or sensing that I made the right choice. And I know it's been challenging, and it's been the most challenging thing that I believe I've ever done. And I've had some very challenging experiences over the course of my life. And I believe, without being melodramatic, or I believe that I've been given a gift to have shall we say, a God's eye view of how God, whoever you believe that to be, the universe, source, but a God's eye view of how we ourselves are perceived. And I was allowed to perceive some of my friends, two of my friends, in such a way. And it has been the most challenging thing I have ever done in this lifetime. And I'm not, I feel a little emotional about it. I really do. But I know that I know what the alternative was between those two truths. I could hurt somebody a lot, or I knew I was going to hurt them on some level, a little bit or a lot. And I chose the little bit. And perhaps in time, there will be understanding and peace with that for everyone involved. But it has been, without a doubt, the hardest thing that I've done in my lifetime, in this lifetime. And yeah, I feel pretty emotional about it. But I am so grateful for the influence and impact and respect and love and experience of these relationships. I am who I am today because of it. And I like who I am today because of it. And I am so grateful. I am so grateful. It's beyond words. And I think I'm going to leave it there. I'm excited for my trip. A little bit of that nervous travel anxiety, like, ooh, did I pack everything? Is all my paperwork, my passport, all that kind of stuff. But it's all positive anxiety, as it were. Very excited, and I look forward to, and I am hopeful. I'm hopeful that I'll find my two Jamaican patois sisters down in Bermuda. I hope their store is still where I believe it is. And I hope I can go and express some deep, heartfelt gratitude for their kindness and how much it meant to me and how often I've thought of that experience, or how often that experience has been in my awareness. And I'll never forget those people, those people in my life that I will never forget. I won't. Peace that surpasses our own understanding. I love you all very much. Thank you.